Hi everybody, this is the baseball fight, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut, and this is another report on the insane asylum known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny part.
And welcome back to the Baseball Hut 2, and hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. I mean, we've been talking about WFAN infinitum for the past, since August of 2023, just giving you example after example after example of how unfair and how brutal the radio station, the legendary quote-unquote radio station of WFAN has been towards our New York Mets, America's team. And I call them America's team because everybody's invested in what the Mets do. People that don't like the Mets want to watch this video. People that, people that aren't Met fans are interested in what people have to say about the Mets. People that aren't Met fans are very interested in what happens with the Mets, what happens with certain players, what happens with the franchise. And then when you say, well, you must be a fan, they're like, oh, no. But they are invested because they want to see what happens. So there's a lot of things going on with the Mets, as you know. But there's a lot of things going on in the insane asylum known as WFAN. Now, we've talked the last time I spoke to you about Boomer Esiason, about how he attacked the Mets owner 3 years ago, a month after Steve had gotten control of the ownership of the club, and how Boomer was what I like to call Norman, which it's funny I should say that's his name, Norman Esiason. Basically said that if he didn't find out what was going on with Steve Cohen's business with the hedge fund, that he was never going to the ballpark again. Now, from what I understand, Boomer does not buy, he's not a season ticket holder. Is he one of these millionaire freeloaders that goes to the ballpark and goes to these different events without having to pay for a ticket? Hope he's not one of those. Hope he's not one of those. Well, Boomer likes to shoot his mouth off too. One of the things he loves to say, he loves to tell people to shut up. We know that he told Carl Banks, who was a more accomplished player than Boomer was, in terms of winning. That guy knew how to win with the Giants. He told Carl Banks to shut up back in November. And he told Steve Cohen to shut up. Well, Boomer made himself into a fool many, many years ago, about 10 years ago. But basically, people told him to shut up. And Boomer basically did something that, he apologized. Let me read you from the New York Daily News. This is a very old article. This is when we had Boomer and Carton in the morning. Imes was still around, still alive, working at WABC. And let me read you the headline. Headline: Boomer Esiason offers up apology after dragging Mets Daniel Murphy and wife into paternity leave conversation. Now, far be it for me to go this way. I know this a long time ago, and he apologized. But this is how low down radio talk is. Now, if your host had a channel back then, if YouTube was big in that way, I would have gone after Boomer like you have no idea. Now, we do know, if you remember, Mike Francesa, the big kahuna that was there, he went after him pretty bad to Daniel Murphy. But Francesa's never going to apologize. He never did. But Boomer's still there, so let's talk about Boomer. And this is written by Bob Raceman, who does not do this stuff anymore. That's one of the things that is missed by not having him around, because he used to hold their feet to the fire. We've not seen this from anybody in the media. Nobody holds their feet to the fire. We got Phil Mushnick here. He sucks. He sucks. Boomer Esiason uttered a phrase normally not voiced by sports talk radio gas bags. It's from Raceman. Quote, "I truly apologize." On the Friday edition of WFAN's Boomer and Carton show, Esiason apologized for insensitive comments he made about Mets second baseman Daniel Murphy exercises collectively bargained right to maternity leave to be with his wife Tori in Florida during and following the birth of their son Noah. Now, I would mention that Murph tried to make a comeback last year, and he was playing in the Angels farm system, and he was enjoying his time. He just wanted to play again, but to have his, I guess he's got another son, to have his two sons watch him play, and just enjoy the minor league lifestyle. And when it came time for the kids to go back to school, Murph said, "I'm retiring," and that's it. He just wanted to have his kids there to see how he was when he played. As you know, Daniel Murphy became the National League Championship Series MVP in 2015, a year later. But we know that from our experience as Met fans, we know Murph is big with his family. It's all that matters to him. How low can you be, folks? How low can you be if you're attacking a man's family and his wife? On Wednesday, and he knew, obviously Norman knew he screwed up, so 2 days later he apologized. On Wednesday, Esiason said he would have demanded, get this is some nerve. Again, this is him with the demands. Boomer pounding his fist on the table. On Wednesday, Esiason said he would have demanded Tori Murphy, this is Murph's wife, get a C-section before the season starts. I need to be there opening day. Insane. Crazy. During his Friday apology, Esiason contended he was not advocating anything for anybody to do. You just said that. Are you nuts? Quote, "I was not telling women what to do with their bodies. I would never do that. That's their decision. That's their life, and they know their bodies better than I do," Norman said on the air. And the other, should I do the Norman voice? Do the crackly voice. And the other thing, so you can't hear me when I do it. And the other thing too that I really felt bad about is that, and I do that voice because obviously Boomer has all these different shows, being on the radio, and he's got that CBS show, and he's constantly talking, doesn't say anything, but he's constantly talking, and the voice is shot. And the other thing too that I really felt bad about is that Daniel Murphy and Tori Murphy were dragged into the conversation, and their whole life was exposed, and it shouldn't have been. Hey, asshole, you're the one who exposed them. You're the one's talking about it. You and Francesa back then. And that is my fault, Boomer said. That is my fault for uttering the word C-section on this radio station. And it all of a sudden put their lives under a spotlight, and for that I truly apologize. Why do you bring up the poor woman having her kid? Esiason said he tried contacting Murph Thursday through intermediaries at the Mets, including COO Jeff Wilpon, which he has on speed dial, who he's good friends with, and still takes orders from when they attack the Mets. And PR head and really goofball, and thank God he's not running the PR department, Jay Horowitz. Am I the only one that would say it? Fire everybody from the Wilpons, from the Wilpon era, including him. He's one of the first hires with the Wilpons, by the way. Oh, he's hired by Frank Cashin. After missing the first two games, Murph returned to the Mets on Thursday, playing in their 8-2 loss to the Nationals. He went 1 for 3 with a run scored, but made 2 errors in the field. That's Murph for you. Quote, all I can say is that I truly, truly feel terrible about what I put them through, Norman said. So for that, I certainly apologize. Before Thursday's game, Murph said the choice to remain with his family was an easy one. I got a couple of text messages about it, so I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I didn't hear about it. He said the criticism. But that's the awesome part about being blessed, about being a parent, is you get that choice. My wife and I discussed, and we felt the best thing for our family was for me to try to stay for an extra day. That being Wednesday, due to the fact that she can't travel for 2 weeks, just to have that support system with her. And Terry Collins was even more direct in his tone. First of all, if you're accusing Dan Murphy of not wanting to play, this guy played 161 games last year, wore himself out, played with all sorts of discomfort. The man had his first child. He's allowed to be that. Now, if you remember, we saw Noah riding on the back of Murph when they won the National League East in Cincinnati. The rules state that he can be there, so he went. There's nothing against it. There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely. As of Friday, there was no word whether WFAN's Mike Sports Pope Francesa, who had his own Neanderthal-like take on the Murphy matter, would deign his audience with an apology. I don't think he did. I'm not apologizing. You should have been there. I went to see Syracuse and Vanderbilt play when my kids were born. On Wednesday, Francesa took Murphy to task for not getting his ass back to the team. One day I understand. And in the old days, they didn't do that. But one day, go see the baby be born and come back. You're a Major League Baseball player. You can hire a nurse to take care of the baby if your wife needs help. I just love Francesa. What are you going to do? I mean, you're going to sit there and look at your wife in a hospital bed for 2 days? Your wife doesn't need your help the first couple of days. You know that you're not doing much the first couple of days of the baby that was just born. I'll tell you. Don't you miss him? I miss him. I don't care what anybody says. But no, this again, this sort of just goes back again to how they will cross lines. And when it comes to the Mets, they constantly do this stuff. They constantly make up stuff. They constantly will attack a man's family. And then because a boomer probably got the riot act probably from his wife when he went home, that's probably why he apologized. Let's be honest. That poor woman has to deal with Boomer for like how many years? 30 years? 35 years had dealing with him? And him and his boneheaded moves and boneheaded things he says? I feel bad for her. God bless Mrs. Esiason. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. And this is another report on the insane asylum known as WFAN.
They're coming to take me away, ha ha. They're coming to take me away, ho ho, hee hee, ha ha, to the funny farm.